saying you handcuffed my brother to a roof and you left him there?
Yeah.
Alright, what's up boys? Today we're talking about something that I'm sure a lot of you struggle with, and that is being scared or feeling fear. So who better to help us with something like this than the fearless man from The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon? If there is one thing that stands out about Daryl, except for him being virtually unscared, is his strength and his skills as a fighter. Daryl is perhaps the best fighter in the Walking Dead universe. If you want to build confidence and unlock the art of bravery, then the first step, as with a lot of things, is physical strength and fighting skills. Just knowing that you have the ability to whoop somebody's ass up real good can ensue a lot of confidence in one's psyche. Just knowing that you are more dominant than someone, be it in size or any other way, puts you at an advantage. Doing weight training or calisthenics will help you out with overall strength development and will build you that dominant size, which will most certainly help you with confidence. The best way to start is by just picking 4 to 5 movements and trying to get as better as you can on each and every one of those movements, such as the bench press / the push-up, the pull-up, a squat variation, a lateral raise for that V-taper, and deadlifting for the posterior chain. Don't skip posterior movements because they are mostly the go muscles, which generate the most amount of power, the biggest example being the glutes. Secondly, let's say a fight breaks down. What then? You have the strength to perform, but you don't know what to do with that strength. The confidence you built up till now just went to waste, man. People who think the most important thing in self-improvement is the gym are mostly wrong. On a lot of bases, at the end of the day, and back in those primal days, it didn't matter if you were big as hell or looked mad fine, or had the body of an Adonis. If you couldn't fight, then you were nothing. That still holds up today, only to a lesser scale though. The best advice I can give here is to start with boxing. When I started training martial arts seriously, it was after watching all of the Rocky films, and boxing was my first true martial art. Sure, I had karate and taekwondo lessons in school as a kid, but they didn't count since I wasn't consistent with them. See, back then I was more into weapons training. If you're gonna make the excuse of having to join a boxing gym, don't worry, you don't actually need it. It would be best if you did, but hey, I started alone and learned mostly through YouTube videos. 2 people I really like are Tony Jeffries and Precision Striking. Now there's another thing to it. You have to spar. Sparring is perhaps the most important part of your fight training. If you don't spar, all the techniques you learn up till then won't do you anything. Sparring is really important, as sparring teaches you timing, proper striking methods, and how to strike and where to strike. It teaches you proper footwork, how to get in and out. It teaches you how to manage your time, how to manage your energy. The guy who's always up there on the front lines is gonna grow stronger than the guy who's training isolated. Vegeta is perhaps the biggest example of this, and Daryl here is also a great example. He's always fighting. Another thing you must keep in mind is self-reliance. Daryl always carries his own weight and even helps others out, like how he went looking for Sophia in season 2.
Listen to me, Olive Oil. I was out there looking for that little girl every single day.
This most certainly will make you look and feel strong. It's a very specific lesson that Daryl Dixon teaches us, but it is an important one. Step 2. Practicing scary shit. About 5 months ago, I was scared to do a handstand against a wall. Now, I can properly do one against the wall for about 30 to 40 seconds and can even hold a freestanding one for over 5 seconds. I know it probably doesn't sound too impressive, but hey, progress is progress. And at the end of the day, all we can and must do is make progress. I can do shit now that about a year ago, I was scared as hell to do. The biggest and most actionable tip I can give you here is to go outside into the wilderness all Daryl Dixon style. Spend as much time as possible in the wild or just outside of your house. maybe in a park or something like that. Try climbing up the slides in a weird and unorthodox way. Try climbing over fences. Hell, even just walking outside a lot helps. Cause this generation is a shut-in generation. Our lives start and end in our homes. Quarantine just accentuated that even more. And that's just sad, man, cause we are not meant to be that way. It's just not in our DNA. It's just not what we are programmed to do. A kid who grew up outside playing in the mud will always be more happier and more confident than the shut-in kids raised with feminine ideals. Hell, I was that shut-in kid. And I'll say this, going out more than anything overall has helped me with my confidence the most. Imagine you're 60 years old and telling your grandkids about a day in your life. It would be an uninteresting and boring story if all they heard was that you woke up and stayed and slept in the same goddamn room. Rather than if you went out, a lot could have happened. Made a new friend, petted a cat, helped a stranger out, climbed a wall, maybe even met your future wife, man. Tell me, which one sounds more interesting?
Live your life like you're the hero in your movie, so that your kids one day would look back at it and see that documentary and look on it with pride.
Do the craziest shit possible and make sure your friends are around to see it, all Barney Stinson style. And to do that shit, you need to go outside. And finally, perhaps the biggest realization I've made over the past few months, the one thing that kept me back and the one thing that allowed me to build all of these crazy experiences, and perhaps the biggest realization that has helped me dial down my fear severely. And that thing is that death is meaningless. If you die, you die. Your death does not have a purpose. And it truly does not matter what happens after you're dead. Because that's it, man. Game over. This is something that I'll definitely have to go in more detail with, but for now, since death is meaningless, and since fear is the emotion responsible for keeping us alive, fear is meaningless. And once you think about it, that death has no meaning. If let's say you're climbing a mountain, which version of you do you think has a better chance of making it to the top end and then the bottom end safely and alive? The guy who is scared of dying and is questioning every decision he is making with his mind all clouded up, do you think he could survive the climb? Or even you being in a street fight, do you think you would win that fight or even live to tell that tale of that fight? This is some dark psychology stuff, but chances are you won't make it in any of those situations. Now this other version of yourselves, he comes up, he does these things, only he isn't scared of dying. He has this mindset of if I die, I die. There is no bigger story. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm still good. Man, his mind is clear and his body's just moving on his own. He most definitely has a better chance of making it out of these two situations, right? This is possibly, in my opinion, the closest thing to nirvana as it gets. To escape the fear of death and to start living. But hey, have a bit of a common sense here. I ain't telling you to jump across a 10-story building just yet, like you see all of these parkour guys doing. You gotta start at your level and build up, just like with anything else in life. If you have even a single doubt in your mind whilst doing any of these dangerous stunts, you most certainly, my friend, will fail. Now this reminds me of when I was a kid trying to ride a bicycle off a ledge. Because I was scared, I failed. And I fell and had a bad fall. But hell, 5 years later, I'm 11 and I'm doing all of this crazy shit on the bicycle that involved going down a steep hill and most definitely jumping across large ledges. Because I didn't have fear in my mind, I could do all of that. Now, for a bonus tip. Family, there's only one thing I can say here. Man, don't fight for yourself. Fight for the people you love, the people you care for. This will most certainly make you push yourself a lot harder than you would as a lone wolf. Now this is something that a lot of people mostly get wrong about Daryl's character. He isn't a lone wolf. The only reason why he has made it thus far in the harsh reality that is the world of The Walking Dead is because he is fighting for something greater than himself. He is fighting for the future. Others will always hold you more accountable than you can hold yourself. Find people you can live your life for and thrive in it. Now, finding these people is a whole other video on itself. So I'll be getting into that in my upcoming Rick Grimes video. So stay tuned for that. Now go see my Negan video if you want to learn how to be a good leader, you scared little bitches.